YouTube, back with this guitar again after its mods, and as you can see it looks exactly the same. So these are, I've upgraded the pickups to House of Tone pickups, and I'm not sure, I think these are maybe handmade in England somewhere. My guess is when you get them in a sort of wooden presentation box with like sawdust shavings in it, that it's they're probably not cheap pickups, but they are stacked P90s as opposed to regular P90s, because the guy who owns this guitar found it a bit noisy when he was using his high gain. I thought it sounded fantastic before. I've not really, I basically plugged it in, make sure it works, but I've not actually tried playing it yet to see what the difference between stacked and not normal P90s is. Before I had a Telecaster, I think, and I put in Wilkinson stacked P90s, and I felt that I lost a hell of a lot of the high end, and it kind of didn't really sound very much like P90s anymore. I'm not sure what these are going to be like. It wasn't a super easy job to change them over because, well, I can't show you the other ones. These are the ones I took out. So see, these are that thick. Well, if you imagine, basically because a stack P90 is basically, and it's got another pickup in below it, they were actually, instead of being that thick with the foam on them, they're kind of that thick without the foam on them. So I had to route in below the pickups to make them fit. So there was still some adjustment, and then had to foil line it, and the earth wire, had to do a wee bit of rejigging with that as well to make it fit. But it sort of works. It's just, it's not. Be aware, it's not a straight swap over. If you're going to try and upgrade your guitar, you kind of probably, unless you're willing to try and do it yourself. I mean, obviously I had a wee bit of fear with you're sitting there with someone else's guitar that's in pretty much brand new condition, routing holes in it. But I'm kind of getting better at these things. There was no disasters. So these are now noiseless or hum cancelling P90s. Before I have a wee jam, which is really all I'm going to do with this, I don't think it'll be a long video. I was going to say, the fretboard on this is, I think it's called cherry wood or cherry board, which I forgot to mention before, but now I didn't really notice it before, but now I look at it, it's a sort of, this is me going, I pure love this. I think this is a great guitar. Some things I'm not 100% loving, and one of them, I don't think I like the wood very much. It's a sort of dull, it's not shiny like rosewood is. It's not as nice a wood, but that's purely aesthetic. It feels alright and stuff. I don't know, it's a sort of chocolatey brown. It kind of looks a wee bit like, the cheap rosewood you get on, not so much on guitars these days, but maybe 20 years ago you used to get guitars like your cheap Strats and stuff that had a sort of powdery, sort of shitty looking rosewood. It kind of looks a bit like that. It's not rosewood, it's cherry wood. The other thing is, because I've now been inside it and stuff, it looks fantastic from the outside, but it just, the detail, I mean, obviously you're not looking inside the cavities, stuff like that doesn't make any difference to the guitar, but it's just not as well rounded and built as the 80s, like your West Tones and stuff like that, which I'm used to working on. It doesn't make any difference to the outside, it's just a little bit more careless. I mean, it's not hidden by, the pickup routings and stuff like that. Just not quite the same amount of time has been spent building it. That was really all the things I didn't like. The other thing was, I'm not sure, I've decided I'm building myself a P90 telly, kind of sort of based sort of on this. I'm not sure I like this position for the rhythm treble switch. It's I'm wondering if it would be better here. I don't know. But then again, I really like the metal plate that you get in a telly. Even though it's not the best design, because whenever you flip it to the bridge position, you always end up touching the volume control. But I just think it looks cool. And I'm not sure I like the knobs either. So this is me being pure. If this was my guitar, things like changing the knobs are nothing. And these are just sort of like what you get in an SG. I suppose the reason for the pickup switch and where these are is kind of to make it look more like the Les Paul. It's a sort of tribute sort of thing to. So new pickups, clean Laney amp. I've actually moved the mic a little bit. I've extended a piece of wood out, so I'm probably not going to be standing in front of the amp quite as much. If you've noticed in other videos when it kind of gets a wee bit quieter when I stand in front of the amp. So now I'm not. It should sound a little bit clearer. That was both pickups. So neck. Bridge. Got the reverb on. Now I do. Now they sound like p90s. The thing about them also, because they're now stacked, it doesn't have the middle position. Maybe isn't as useful as it was before, because before, you know, the middle position would be hum cancelling, so it wouldn't have the same noise elements. So in middle position, this is just a different sound as opposed to being that's the hum cancelling option, because it's hum cancelling in all positions. That's middle position. Bridge, main neck. So these pickups don't seem to have that. What we said before about the losing the bite. I don't think these have lost the bite. They're not quite as aggressive as the non-stacked ones. I don't think. But then again, I can't remember. It was a couple of days ago. If you watched the previous video and A/B it against this one, I won't have touched any of the knobs apart from volume on the amp. So these pickups are pretty good. This guitar is really good. It's really easy. I'm finding it really easy to play. Really, I've literally only played this for maybe about 3 minutes in total, apart from what's in the 2 videos. You know, they were both first take videos. There's something very, very comfortable with it. Maybe it's because I've got a few Telecasters. Maybe it's because it feels very similar to the Eastwood there. Maybe it's just the whole telly with the tunematic bridge somewhere is making it feel like that. I don't think so. It doesn't have a particularly similar neck profile or weight or anything like that. That's kind of nice. That's got like a binding on it, so it doesn't have the sort of rounded edges either. Just seems to work quite well. So interesting that House of Tone pickups. They seem to be pretty good. Mighty impressed, and I don't think these are missing the bite. Although in saying that, I don't know. I think they will be much more expensive pickups than the ones I took out. And obviously now being noiseless makes a big difference. I don't think they really lost anything apart from the noise. But is the noise a part of the actual point of having P90s? Sort of. I think as I said it in the last video, I think it depends. The guy was talking about using high gain, which I don't use. I mean, I've had as gainy as I went there with the fuzz pedals and the rat pedal, but so and to be honest, I would recommend one of these guitars. I forgot to look up and see how much they cost, but personally, I would have this over a Fender. Is it a Mexican one, which would be I think would be at the same price. I would have it, or if I had a Fender telly and I was looking for another guitar, this is different enough to justify it because it's the P90s and it's a sort of Les Paul Junior-y type thing. I don't actually have a Les Paul Junior of any type, even a copy or anything like that. I don't even know if I've ever really played one. My pal Wayne had one. It was really nice. It was a Grant. One of my favourite Grant guitar I think I played, apart from the sort of horrible 80s things that I've got, which are very good guitars but pretty ugly. I think that's got P90s and a flat top. Basically, actually not that dissimilar to this, but with a Les Paul shaped body and a Les Paul shaped head. Looking at the scale length, if I could, I don't know where my. It'll say on the website whether it's a Fender scale or a Gibson scale. I think it's the 25.5. I think it's the full Fender scale. And in the debate whether between 9s or 10s, which are the best strings, I normally use 10s, but recently I've been thinking I bought 9s because by mistake actually one time, and I actually quite like them. These have got 9.5s, so there you go. You get 9.5s. I think they were Didarios, or any balls. I can't remember. I don't know where the packet is, but so you get 9.5s if you can't decide whether you want 9s or 10s. So maybe actually, was that bending notes a bit more? I think I was doing a lot more vibrato. So maybe that was partly to do with it. They're just a little bit bendier, but not quite as bendy as 9s. But yeah, so a good choice, I think. Try 9.5s if you're too feared to go all the way to 9s, or if you're doing the other way, you're too feared to go all the way to 10s, and you're always in 9s. Yeah, so my not short video again, 20 minutes. Rock on! Got some more videos coming up this week. Yeah. Well, another 3 guitars before I even start delving into my collection of bits and bobs and ones that I'm going to have to build to do the videos for. So this is a bit of a rejig, but this is a good guitar. I like it, and I will try back in a couple of months when I've built one. Actually just bought another one of those piezo bridges on eBay last night, so it might have a piezo thing in it, although that's actually for a thin line I've got upstairs, which actually kind of the reason I'm building the thin line is because it didn't have it. Someone had put extra holes in it. It's like I think it used to be an old kit guitar that someone made a right arse of. It's got it's like a through neck, but they've totally made an arse of it. So I'm just basically going to saw the neck off and make it a bolt-on neck, because I've got a telly neck sitting through there, thin line, and it's got an extra hole in it. So I've got the metal plate which covers up some of the damage. So I'll do some volume tone and the pickup switch, and there's another hole which I was going to, what did I make that knob do? So and it's a tunematic, so if I put a tunematic in, I can use that as the acoustic output, the acoustic volume, so it should work out. I don't know when I'll get around to that. I've had it for about a year. That was one of the things where I think when I decided I was going to stop travelling quite so much. The petrol miles and that ridiculous. It was really cheap, buying a kit guitar that someone's failed at and it was in Musselburgh, which was like an hour and something my drive there, and then another hour and something back to pick up a guitar. It was like 30 quid or something. You're like, well, maybe I'm maybe being a little bit more, what's the word, aware of how far away things are. You know, it's like, I don't, okay, if I'm picking up a couple £100 guitar, I don't mind driving to Edinburgh for it, but I shouldn't be driving to Edinburgh for guitars that are like 30, 40 quid. It just doesn't seem worth it, unless it's a pure mega bargain, or one that I want for myself, you know, like a West Tone or a Washburn or something like that. Rock on!